The emergency klaxon screamed across Unity Station as Captain Marcus Reed watched something impossible appear on the sensor displays. A massive vessel, easily 3 kilometers long, had materialized just beyond the outer perimeter. But this was no ordinary ship. Its hull bore the faded insignia of the Terran Republic, a government that had fallen 2 centuries ago. "Identify yourself," Reed transmitted, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting around him. The bridge crew scrambled to their stations, weapon systems charging with ominous hums. A figure appeared on the main screen, elderly, weathered, but unmistakably human. "Unity Station. This is Admiral Kate Storm of the TSS Prometheus. Requesting immediate docking clearance." Reed's blood turned cold. The Prometheus had vanished 300 years ago during humanity's first attempt at faster-than-light travel. It had been presumed destroyed, its crew of 10,000 souls lost to the void. "Admiral Storm, according to our records, the Prometheus disappeared in 2387. How is this possible?" Storm's weathered face cracked into a grim smile. "Time works differently where we've been, Captain. We need to talk. Humanity is in grave danger." Within hours, the massive vessel had docked at Unity Station's largest bay. Reed accompanied a security team aboard the ancient ship, expecting to find a derelict hulk. Instead, they discovered corridors humming with energy, holographic displays showing incomprehensible data streams, and technology that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Storm met them in what had once been a standard briefing room, now transformed into something resembling a command center from humanity's wildest dreams. Walls of pure light displayed star charts spanning entire galactic arms, while floating interfaces responded to mere thought. 3 centuries ago, they encountered a rift in space-time. Storm began, her eyes carrying the weight of impossible experiences. "We were pulled into what we came to understand was a pocket dimension, a place where the Builders once lived." "The Builders?" Reed asked. "An ancient race that seeded the galaxy with life millions of years ago. They left behind ruins, knowledge, and most importantly, technology beyond our comprehension. We spent subjective decades there, learning, growing, becoming something more than what we were." Storm gestured to the displays around them. "We learned to manipulate matter at quantum level, to travel instantly across vast distances, to harness the fundamental forces of reality itself. But we also learned why the Builders vanished." The room darkened as a 3-dimensional map materialized in the center. It showed the galaxy, but something was wrong. Vast sections appeared corrupted, consumed by spreading darkness. "The Devourers," Storm continued, "a force from beyond our dimension that consumes entire realities. The Builders fought them for eons before retreating to higher dimensions. The Devourers are returning, and they're already at the galaxy's edge." Reed stared at the spreading corruption on the map. "How long do we have?" 50 years, maybe less. But the Builders left us tools, knowledge that we've spent centuries mastering. Humanity was chosen for a reason, Captain. We adapt, we survive, we refuse to yield. The Builders saw something in our species that even they admired. Over the following days, Storm and her crew demonstrated their capabilities. They showed Reed materials that could withstand the heat of stars, weapons that could crack planets, and shields that rendered entire fleets invisible. But more impressive was their mastery of dimensional manipulation, the ability to step between realities, as easily as walking through a door. "We've prepared humanity's children," Storm explained, as they watched her engineers installing impossible devices throughout Unity Station. Hidden colonies in parallel dimensions, backup civilizations in alternate timelines. If the Devourers destroy this reality, humanity will survive in others. The technology transfer was unlike anything in recorded history. Within weeks, human ships began incorporating builder tech. Vessels that once required months to cross star systems now traveled instantly through dimensional gates. Worlds that faced extinction from stellar events were simply moved to safer locations. The galactic community watched in amazement and growing fear as humanity rapidly ascended to heights of technological achievement that made their greatest accomplishments seem primitive. The proud confederation of worlds, which had long viewed humans as clever but limited, suddenly found themselves desperately seeking alliance with the species they had once patronized. But Storm's most shocking revelation came during a private meeting with Reed and the station's senior staff. The builder technology responds to human consciousness in ways it never did for any other species, she said. Our capacity for hope, for defying impossible odds, for protecting those we love. These aren't just admirable traits. They're literally the key to unlocking the deepest levels of builder tech. She activated a device that filled the room with swirling energy. Pure possibility made manifest. The builders could never fully activate their own creations because they lacked something humans possess in abundance: the absolute refusal to accept defeat. As the Prometheus prepared to depart for the galactic rim to establish the first line of defense against the Devourers, Storm left Reed with final words that would reshape humanity's understanding of itself. We always wondered why humans seemed to defy the odds so consistently, why we alone among all species refused to accept limitations. Now we know we were literally designed for this moment. The builders didn't just leave us tools. They wrote their hopes into our very DNA. The ship vanished into a dimensional rift, leaving behind a humanity transformed. As Reed watched reconstruction efforts across the galaxy, he realized that the species once considered stubborn and reckless was now recognized as the galaxy's last hope. Against forces beyond imagination, humanity had always been told they were special. Now they finally understood why.